Hey there. Welcome back to Life Hacks After 50. Simple daily habits can make a huge difference in how we look and feel. That's what this channel is all about. Before we dive in, do me a favor. Like, follow, and share this video. It helps the channel grow. Also, quick shout out to my ebook, Life by Noon, 5 Steps to Noon Transformation. It's my go-to morning routine for boosting health, energy, and vitality, all before noon. I'm 60 and going strong, and you can too. Grab your copy through the link in the description. If you're enjoying this podcast, consider supporting us with a small donation. It really helps us keep going. See the link in the description or bio. Now, let's get started. All right, everyone, welcome back. We're diving deep today, exploring how to stay safe online, especially after you hit the big 5-0.
Yeah, the digital world, it's amazing and all, but
But it can be a bit of a minefield, right?
absolutely, especially with all those scams lurking around every corner. And, they often target, well, folks like us, seniors.
So for this deep dive, we're turning to Life Hacks After 50. They always have such great tips and advice.
Yeah, they really do a great job. And one thing they emphasize a lot is, well, how seniors can be particularly vulnerable to these online scams. I mean, no one wants to admit it, but
That's true.
it is.
So let's get right into it. What are some of the most common scams we need to be aware of? I mean, we all know about those fake IRS calls, right?
Oh, yeah, those are classic. But honestly, those are almost too obvious these days. Scammers, they've gotten a lot more sophisticated. You got to watch out for things like tech support scams, for example.
Tech support scam.
Yeah, like you get a pop-up saying your computer's infected, and you need to call this number immediately. Or maybe they even call you directly, pretending to be from Microsoft or Apple or something.
Oh, wow. I can see how that would be scary.
It is. They prey on that fear, that urgency, and then they talk you into giving them remote access to your computer. And that's when they can really do some damage, steal your passwords, bank information.
Ugh, that's terrifying. And I bet they sound so convincing, too.
Oh, absolutely. They're smooth talkers. They know how to sound official and trustworthy. But, it's not just about technology either. There are romance scams too.
Romance scams, like those catfish things you hear about.
Exactly. It's all about building trust, making you feel special, and then bam, they hit you up for money. Maybe they need help with a sick relative or a plane ticket to come visit you.
It's almost like they're playing on those feelings of loneliness, or maybe that desire for connection that some seniors experience.
It's sad, really. And then, of course, there's the good old-fashioned phishing scam.
Oh yeah, those emails that look like they're from your bank or a store you shop at.
Exactly. They try to trick you into clicking a link or downloading an attachment, and then boom, you've got malware on your computer, or they've stolen your login credentials.
So basically, it seems like scammers are just getting more and more creative with their tactics.
Yeah.
And it's not just about being naive, it's about being in a vulnerable position where these tactics work more effectively.
Absolutely. They often target seniors, and it's not like we're blaming anyone, but
But we have to acknowledge that, maybe we didn't grow up with all this technology
and yeah, we might be more trusting, a little less skeptical.
Right. So what can we do to protect ourselves? Like, are there any red flags we can look out for?
Oh, definitely. One of the biggest ones is a sense of urgency. Scammers always want you to act. NOW, no time to think, no time to check things out.
Right, like that pressure to make a quick decision.
Exactly. They might say your account's been compromised, or you owe money, or you're going to miss out on some amazing deal if you don't act immediately.
So if someone's pushing you to make a decision on the spot, chances are it's not a legitimate offer.
Right. And another big red flag is if they ask for personal information that they shouldn't need.
Like your social security number or your bank account details.
Yep, especially over the phone or through email. Think about it. A legitimate company, they already have that information if you're a customer.
That's true. Okay, so red flag number 1, urgency. Red flag number 2, asking for sensitive information they should already have. Anything else?
Oh, and this one's a biggie. If they demand payment through gift cards.
I've heard about that one. What's the deal with gift cards?
Well, for scammers, they're like gold. Once you've given them those card numbers, it's like untraceable cash.
And I bet they come up with all sorts of stories to justify asking for gift cards.
Oh, yeah, like you owe back taxes, or you have to pick a fine, or you need to send a gift to a loved one overseas.
Okay, so if anyone ever asks for payment with a gift card, that's a huge red flag. Just walk away.
Run away.
All right, so let's say we do encounter something suspicious. What's the best course of action? Should we just hang up the phone or close the email?
You know what? Honestly, that's exactly what you should do. Don't engage. Don't give them any information. Just cut off contact.
And then what? Should we report it to someone?
Oh, absolutely. Report it to the authorities like FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. They track these scams and try to shut them down.
So even if it feels like a small thing, reporting it can actually help prevent others from becoming victims.
Exactly. You might even be saving someone from a huge financial loss or a lot of heartache.
Okay, good to know. Now, I think it's important to talk about how we can support our loved ones, maybe our aging parents or relatives who might be more susceptible to these scams.
That's so important. Communication is key. Just talk to them, let them know about these scams, and encourage them to share any concerns they might have.
Make sure they know they can come to you if they're not sure about something.
Right. And maybe even like help them set up fraud alerts on their bank accounts or credit cards.
And what about those regular tech check-ins we hear about, where you sit down with them and go over their online activity?
Those can be really helpful, just to make sure they haven't clicked on any suspicious links or given out any personal information. And it's a great way to keep them informed about new scams that are popping up.
It's almost like being their tech support buddy.
Yeah, exactly. And it can really make a difference in keeping them safe online.
So we've talked about some of the common scams, the red flags to watch out for, and how to report something suspicious. Now let's get into some practical tips for staying safe online, those everyday habits we can all adopt to protect ourselves. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Strong passwords.
Oh yes, passwords. They could be such a pain though.
I know, right? But they're so important. Your passwords are literally the keys to your digital kingdom.
So how do we make sure our passwords are strong enough to keep the bad guys out?
Well, first of all, forget those old habits of using your pet's name or your birthday. You need a unique password for each account, and it should be at least 12 characters long, ideally even longer.
And what about those tips on using a mix of uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols? Does that really make a
It
difference?
makes a huge
Phishing.
difference. The more complex your password is, the harder it is for hackers to crack it.
Okay, I'm getting overwhelmed just thinking about remembering all these long, complicated passwords.
Don't worry, there's help for that. Password managers.
Ah, password managers, those digital lifesavers.
Exactly. They're like a secure vault where you can store all your passwords and you only need to remember one master password to unlock it.
So it's like having a digital key ring for all those complicated passwords.
Yep. And most of them can even generate strong, unique passwords for you, so you don't have to strain your brain trying to come up with them yourself.
Genius. So password manager is definitely something to look into. Okay, what else? What about two-factor authentication? Is that something we should be using?
Oh, absolutely. Two-factor authentication is like having an extra lock on your door. Even if someone gets your password, they still can't get into your account without that second verification code.
And then that code usually gets sent to your phone or email, right?
Right, so it's much harder for hackers to get access because they would need both your password and your phone or email access.
Makes sense. So two-factor authentication, another essential tool in our digital safety arsenal. Okay, now let's talk about safe browsing. How can we tell if a website is legitimate or if it's a trap set by those sneaky scammers?
All right, so here's where you put on your digital detective hat. First, look for the lock icon in the address bar next to the website's URL.
Oh yeah, that little padlock. I've seen that before.
That padlock means the website uses encryption, which helps protect your information as it travels over the internet.
So it's like sealing your data in an envelope before sending it off.
Exactly. And always, always double check the web address, especially if you clicked on a link in an email or on social media.
So it's like those spot the difference puzzles. But the stakes are much higher in the online world.
Yes. Scammers often create fake websites that look almost identical to the real ones, but with subtle misspellings or different domain names.
So if you see something that looks even slightly off, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Exactly. And the same goes for emails and social media messages. If you get something unexpected, especially if it asks you to click a link or download an attachment, be very cautious.
Even if it looks like it's from someone you know.
Even then, scammers can sometimes hack into people's accounts and send messages that look like they're from a friend or family member. If you're not sure, just contact that person directly and ask if they really sent it.
Okay, so it's all about being vigilant, paying attention to the details, and trusting our gut instincts if something feels off.
Absolutely. It's better to be too careful than to become a victim of a scam.
Great advice. It's been so insightful talking to you today. I feel like I've learned a lot.
It's been a pleasure. I think it's great that we're having these conversations and empowering people to stay safe online.
It makes you wonder, with technology always changing and these scams getting more sophisticated, What can we do to stay ahead of the curve? Like, how can we make sure we're always learning about new threats and new ways to protect ourselves?
That's a great question. I think staying informed is key. Subscribing to newsletters about online safety, maybe following some cybersecurity experts on social media.
Yeah, and maybe even taking some online safety courses or attending workshops.
Mm.
There are a lot of resources out there if you know where to look.
Absolutely. It's like with anything else. The more you know, the better prepared you are.
Well said. I think the biggest takeaway from our deep dive today is that knowledge is power.
And that we don't have to be afraid of technology.
Exactly. By being aware of the risks and taking some simple precautions, we can all enjoy the benefits of the digital world safely and confidently.
And stay connected with loved ones, share information, and look out for each other.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into digital safety. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and stay connected.
See you next time.